Okay, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the absolute blockbuster news of Jose Mourinho's return to Real Madrid. But honestly, more importantly, we're diving into what this actually teaches us about elite leadership. We're looking at a true masterclass here, one that crosses the boundary between high-stakes professional sports and executive business management. Here is our game plan for today. We'll start with the return of the special one, then dive into managing the mega stars, and break down Mourinho's tactical master plan. After that, we'll take those exact lessons from the pitch to the boardroom, and finally leave you with a concrete leadership playbook. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Return of the Special One. So, Mourinho's journey is just totally fascinating. Think back to his 2010 to 2013 stint. He achieved something that was almost unthinkable at the time, a staggering 100 points and 121 goals in a single season. He was breaking records while going head-to-head with a prime Barcelona team. Fast forward to today, after guiding Benfica to an incredible undefeated league season in 2025 to 2026, he is officially returning to the Spanish capital this July on a 3-year contract. But you kind of have to wonder, why bring him back right now? Well, Real Madrid's recent season has been incredibly turbulent. After Xabi Alonso was sacked in January, interim coach Álvaro Arbeloa just couldn't turn the ship around, and the dressing room completely fractured. It actually culminated in a physical confrontation between teammates Federico Valverde and Aurélien Tchouaméni. And we're talking about an incident so severe that Valverde required stitches at the hospital. So President Florentino Perez chose Mourinho specifically to step in and impartially restore order. He was brought in to be that quote-unquote strong leadership required to enforce absolute discipline. That brings us to Section 2, Managing the Megastars. I mean, just listen to this incredible quote from Claude Makélélé. It perfectly captures the psychological duality of Mourinho's management style. Makélélé, who played under him at Chelsea, said Mourinho was like a father with a strong character, but also like a dictator. It's wild, right? But he knows exactly how to read a group of young, super talented individuals. He gives them the paternal support and emotional intelligence they need to actually feel secure, while at the exact same time enforcing this absolute dictatorial discipline so the team structure is never, ever compromised. Makélélé actually offered some pretty stark warnings to Kylian Mbappé about this, specifically about the absolute necessity of sacrificing your individual flair for the collective integrity of the squad. Mbappé has famously been requesting more responsibility. Well, Makélélé warns that if you want that responsibility, you have to accept the heavy consequences that follow. Mourinho demands a fantastic team spirit above any individual glory. And the rule here is just fascinating to me. For 2 hours a day during training, players must commit completely and utterly to their teammates. The manager doesn't care if your best friend's off the pitch. During those 2 hours of work, the team's structure and your commitment to the collective come way before personal friendships or massive egos. Moving on to Section 3, Mourinho's tactical master plan. Let's walk through these tactical shifts to understand exactly how Mourinho plans to fix a defense that remarkably hasn't kept a clean sheet in 8 games. We are going to see the revival of his signature 4-2-3-1 formation. First up, he'll set the double pivot. And get this, he plans to use Tchouaméni and Valverde. Yes, the exact 2 players involved in that locker room clash. He's literally forcing them to work together as a rigid defensive shield. Next, he deploys Jude Bellingham as the vital number 10 bridge, making him the engine connecting that deep midfield straight to the attack. Up top, he places Vinícius on the left wing and utilizes Kylian Mbappé as the number 9 striker. And finally, the trap. They're going to absorb pressure deep in their own half just to trigger these rapid, lethal counterattacks, totally utilizing the blistering pace of Mbappé and Vinícius. But, you know, every strict system has a casualty. It exposes a really uncomfortable truth. Specific personnel absolutely must bend to fit the manager's system, even if it means sacrificing their natural attacking tendencies. Attacking fullbacks, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, face deep trouble in Mourinho's rigid, defensive-first philosophy. Mourinho famously prefers these gritty, defensive warriors over fullbacks who push high up the pitch and leave big gaps behind them. If you're a player who naturally wants to attack and play deep line passes, you're going to find yourself sidelined if you can't adapt to the uncompromising defensive duties that Mourinho demands. Which perfectly sets up Section 4, Pitch to the Boardroom. So I want to pose this exact question to you right now. Can Mourinho's touch translate to the corporate boardroom? Does managing a global superstar like Kylian Mbappé really have anything in common with managing top-tier corporate talent, or software engineers, or brilliant but maybe difficult executives? Well, the answer is a resounding yes, and science actually backs this up completely. A peer-reviewed neuroscience and organizational psychology paper by Nikas Lambertis, published in Frontiers, explicitly proves these tactics aren't just for athletes. The study does a full comparative analysis of talent coaching in elite football and how it directly applies to business leadership. Honestly, the parallels are just striking. Think about it. A football coach adjusting tactics mid-game relies on the exact same psychological mechanisms as a CEO demonstrating market agility during a sudden economic shift. Enforcing strict locker room discipline, that's identical to building a cohesive, unified organizational culture. And those immersive, high-pressure football drills completely mirror the necessity of real-world corporate simulations to prep your team for unpredictable challenges. It's literally the same skill set, just applied in a totally different arena. And finally, Section 5. The Leadership Playbook. By pulling from both Mourinho's tactical genius and the academic research, we can map out the core principles of transformational leadership. Prioritizing holistic development is absolutely crucial. It's never just about raw technical skills. It's about developing emotional intelligence and psychological resilience alongside them. To prepare your team for the real world, you've got to utilize experiential learning and scenario-based simulations so they can react instinctively under pressure. Instilling a shared vision is what inspires true team cohesion. Remember that 2 hours a day of total commitment Makaleli talked about? That exact principle applies right in the office. Navigating external pressures and sudden market shifts demands maintaining that same tactical agility we see on the pitch. Ultimately, investing in long-term mentorship and sustainable growth is exactly how you build a resilient, adaptable organization that can outlast any single crisis. I want to end with this provocative thought to leave you really reflecting on your own organizational culture. Are you balancing empathy, the father, with strict discipline, the dictator, in your own leadership style? Can you actually provide the emotional support your top talent needs while simultaneously, uncompromisingly enforcing the standards of your team? The return of the special one is so much more than just football drama. It's a living case study in human psychology, team dynamics, and transformational leadership. Think about the megastars in your own life and how you are guiding them to success. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you eager to apply these lessons and learn even more.